You're listening to the Sports Therapy Association podcast, putting evidence back into soft tissue therapy. And we're live. How are you doing, people? Welcome. Sports Therapy Association podcast. Going out live as it does always, as it has done for the last 129 episodes on a Tuesday on the Sports Therapy Association YouTube channel. But obviously it is uploaded as a podcast. So if you are listening to the podcast, then thank you very much. We appreciate everything you've done for the last 2 years, but we'd appreciate it even more if you do leave us a little review. There you go. That's all we ask of you. Right. So yes, we've got to what is actually the last episode of the Sports Therapy Association podcast before Christmas. It's actually the last episode before the end of the year. And we will be back after this on the first Tuesday in January with what we normally do on the first Tuesday of the month is have your say, which is where we get a few STA members and people together to have a chat. This time, I guess we'll be talking about looking forward to 2023 and what our goals and hopes, both personal and for the industry, are. So that's what we'll be doing. But anyway, what we're doing in this episode is we're going to be continuing our focus on education. And before I do that, it is still Matt here. I can sense that I'm already sounding a little bit kind of like, I don't know, Debbie Harry chewing on chalk or something. It is me. I've just got a bit of man flu. That's all. So if you are thinking that's not Matt's voice, it's an imposter, then it is me. But what I'm going to do is say thank you to who we've had this December for our focus on education. We have started off the month with Tristan Attenborough, and these are all available on your favorite podcast app. If you want to see the video, which I would recommend definitely for this episode, then go to YouTube or go to the STA130.co.uk. But yeah, Tristan Attenborough started us off with this focus on education, talking following his huge success at Therapy Expo back in November, cognitive biases and judgment noise. So it was based on a talk he did, in my experience, the world is more or less flat, which was a fantastic introduction to how the idea of how our own naturally human occurring cognitive biases and fallibilities, they're going to be there always. And it gives us a distorted perception of the world. And this can affect us as therapists in terms of expectations and outcomes and celebrations, as well as negative things like imposter syndrome and stuff like that. So it's a absolutely great episode to look at. And I totally understand where Tristan's coming from. If we do understand these natural limitations we've got as human beings and don't feel ashamed of them, then it could have a huge effect in being able to educate ourselves better, educate each other better, and just become better therapists, which is what it's all about. So yeah, that is there available for you. That's how we started the month on a very big high with the wonderful Tristan Attenborough. He then went on last week to talk to Mike Grice, who's the Director of Movement Therapy Education. Talking about his many years involved in being an education provider. And we had some of his students with us as well. And this week, we're going to continue with another hugely respected education provider in the soft tissue therapy industry, which is Anna Maria Mazzieri of the ST School, who is going to be joined by 3 of her students. Likewise, the same as Mike was last week. And the 3 of those students are Imi Testa, Joe Holloway, and Michael Konolko, or Michal, or Mike, as we shall refer to him. He's going to be coming up as well. So we're very excited. For those of you who aren't aware of Anna Maria Mazzieri, and I'm hoping that's out of the 2,600 downloads we generally get, some of you aren't aware, because that's what these are all about, these podcasts. We love the people who join us live, and we thank everyone who does join us live, and I'll say hello to you personally in a second. But we're hoping that a lot of the people who download it don't know Anna Maria Mazzieri and the wonderful work she does, and they don't know Tristan Attenborough, and they don't know Mike Grice. So but if you don't know Anna Maria Mazzieri, then director and lead tutor for the ST School, and for a good time now has been really driving a change in soft tissue therapy. I think she tutted a good time now, because it makes it sound really old. But yeah, a real figure at the forefront of improving our industry, and very much so included in developing new curriculums to try and put evidence-based practice more on the map, understanding what that truly means and how much we can improve the quality of the information we're putting out there, as we touched on last week with Mike Grice and his students. We're also going to be joined once again, as we were last week, by Gary Benson, founder of the STA, who's been involved very much in education and different syllabi changes across the years. So it'll be wonderful having Gary's involvement as well. Right, that's it. I think without further ado, then we will bring up Anna Maria Mazzieri and some past and present students of the ST School. You're listening to the Sports Therapy Association podcast, putting evidence back into soft tissue therapy. Hey, Anna Maria, how you doing?
Hi, Matt.
I didn't make you feel too old, do I? I heard you tut away in the lobby by saying, for a good while now.
I know.
Sorry.
How dare you?
Doesn't look a day over 21. And Gary, hey Gary, talking about not a day over 21. How are you, Gary? Thanks for joining us again.
He's pushing it.
I'm a few days over 21, Matt, and I'm feeling
Oh, God.
21. And then
also very well.
Good,
so
good to see you, mate. Good to see you again. And then in no particular order, we'll bring up students, past and present students of the ST school. So let's bring up Imi Testa. Hey, Imi, how you doing?
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. And Joe Holloway. Hey, Joe, how you doing? You can hear me okay?
Hello, good, thank you.
Fantastic, good to see you. Really is good to see you. And I've got a few technical difficulties with Joe. That's why I said that. I'm not singling out Joe. That would be really ridiculous. And Mike as well is coming up. There we go, Mike. How you doing, Mike? Thanks for joining us.
All good.
Great, thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us. Everyone is here. Gary, I don't know how Gary ended up behind the Christmas decorations. Again, if you listen to the podcast, you can't see, but we put a little bit of tinsel around the outside of the screen, and one of us had to end up slightly behind the Christmas decorations. But Gary, if you move along or move your cam, you will be out. At the moment you are, I can just see a mouth, so I'd move the other way. That's it. Keep going, Gary. Keep moving. Keep moving. Keep moving. Keep on moving. That's good. We can see you now. There you go. Is that right? It's not just me who can see Gary perfectly.
Yep,
I think everyone can.
Good now.
Brilliant. Let's just check with the people in the gang, people in the live lounge as well. If you listen to the podcast and you haven't listened to us before, then if you do join us live on a Tuesday evening, Sarah Jones, for example, is here saying, evening, ready to go.
Hi, Sarah.
With a Christmas tree. Hey, Sarah, how are you doing? Thanks for joining us. It's lovely when people do join us live because, one, it's great networking. Often we get accompanied by the STA reps. So there's people in your part of the country you can network with and get support and ask questions to. And also it's a chance for you guys just to come along and share maybe your logo or your photo and just get known. Because like I say, there's a lot of wonderful people who do download this podcast and listen to it. I don't think there's 2,600 soft tissue therapists in the UK. I'm not sure. I don't know what this is like. So either people who are just nothing to do with our industry are downloading us, or it just really is making an impact. We know it is. I'm saying that as if I don't realize. So it's really nice for you people to join us live. And it's a great opportunity for you to come and ask questions to our guests. So thank you. Stephen Barr, good to see you again, man. How are you doing? Good evening, fine people. He says, are we grand? This is raising my... It's all started a bit depressing tonight before we went on air. We were just all a bit ill. So Stevie Barr is raising our metaphorical glasses to toast the winter holiday in. Marco Mendonca, damn it, last week you told me how to pronounce your name properly, it's already gone. It's Mendonca, isn't it? It's Mendonca, it's a soft C because you've got the circumflexion thing underneath. Marco Mendonca, good to see you, mate. Thanks for joining us. Nikki Mansfield is here as well, super grand, quite a big kind of North Scottish contingency in tonight, isn't there? Stephen as well. Sarah Jones, fine, we're all in.
Matt,
Right, thanks for joining us.
Matt, can I just say hi to Glenn Murphy, who's in as well, but for some reason his messages are not coming up on what we can see on the chat, but they are coming up on YouTube.
How bizarre. I'm not sure what that's all about. Sorry about that, Glenn. Yeah, good to see you here as well, mate. So does that mean you can see questions and things as they come up from Glenn, Gary?
Yeah, I'll keep my eye on those, yeah.
You'll be monitoring that, will you? Right. I'm going to take the strap line off the bottom because I'm just seeing Gary's glasses at the moment. Looks like something out of the two Ronnies. So let's
Can I show my Christmas tree? There we are.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, can I?
Beautiful.
That's it. Here we are.
Very
I
nice.
like it. Now that's it. I'm done.
There we go. We've got a bit more screen sizes now. Right. So people, thanks so much for joining us and giving it a time as always. So we're here to talk about soft tissue therapy education and to just pay our homage to the wonderful person that is Anna Maria Mazzieri. So I think we should really
He had too much
off.
calpol. Obviously, he had too much calpol tonight.
Calpol.
Okay?
I've been lugging back on something that hasn't been calpol, that's for sure. So Anna Maria, I mean, I know it's very tricky, and I know you're not a person who likes to be put on the spot, but the ST school,
The soft tissue therapy school. Thank you.
the soft tissue therapy school, it's gone through a few name changes though, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Which
So
reflects, maybe that's a nice way of showing your kind of evolution as a school. Talk us through that. Maybe talk about the name changes and why they happened.
both. That's really nice. That's really nice, actually, Ma. Both the clinic and the school changed because originally it started as the massage clinic, which then
What are we talking time-wise? Let's come on.
So
open up
the massage clinic actually
Pandora's box there, yeah.
in 2000
2002.
2002.
Right.
And then 2008, the
decades.
massage training school opened.
Right.
So, and it was called the massage training school. Both of them was called the massage clinic and massage training school. And then as we have evolved and we realized that as an industry, but we realized that actually we were too much kind of identifying ourselves with the modality, which was massage. Nothing wrong with massage, and we'll talk about it later on. But there was always the expectation that it was just a modality, and we wanted to actually showcase that massage therapy, sports and remedial massage, whatever you call it, is more than just a modality, and the same for education. And then we moved with the name ISRM, then created the qualification, the diploma in soft tissue therapy. And that's why we do the massage training school, then became the school, and then the soft tissue therapy school. And I wanted to leave the soft tissue therapy school because that is a name that is very, very, very dear to me, and I really want to push forward.
It's an interesting, I think, I love words myself anyway, and I teach words. But like, for example, I'm interested, I mean, how we sell ourselves, what we call ourselves, has often been quite tricky for whatever you want to call yourself. So, for example, like Imi, let's start off with you. What do you describe yourself as on social media, or business cards, on your website? What are you?
Yeah, I've got some changes as well, but yeah, soft tissue therapist at the moment. But then on a lot of my cards, it says, I think it still says like sports and holistic massage. But I like soft tissue therapy because it isn't just massage, it's everything. It's everything as well. So, but then a lot of my clients might not know what that means. So do you put both on? I'm still undecided. I like soft tissue therapist, but I think maybe the public doesn't know what that is all the time.
It's a very tricky one, isn't it? I wonder if one day there will be a word we all accept and enjoy and just have. I don't know. Maybe it won't because of the nature of our business.
That's so from an SEO perspective, nobody knows about soft tissue therapy. In fact, even on our website, we have to put sports massage because those are the words that the public understands. So we need to speak the language. But through speaking the language, then if each of us, so we put the soft tissue therapy in our website, in our conversation, slowly it's going to change. I mean, both you, Matt, and Gary been in practice for a long time. And would you agree that in the last 10 years, or probably in the last 8 years, the word soft tissue therapy now is much more used than it used to be before? So, we are the lucky one to be in that middle time.
I think what's happened, and I suppose I was trying to work out in my head how long I've known you, Anna Maria, and I know I used to talk to you when I was in another role within the industry, and I did when I used to go I used to go all over the country giving careers advice to universities for sports therapists, and I remember I knew you were at Exmouth, and I went past the sign that said Exmouth 10 miles, and I thought, well, I'm just going to call in, and I just called in one afternoon. No, we didn't arrange it or anything, but I suppose we've been in the industry the same length of time. Yeah. But what I found is that, as the industry's changed and as we've looked at titles, and I've always struggled with what to call myself, I think there was a definite tendency to try and create a unique selling point. And that's where soft tissue therapy came in, where the connotations for massage and sports massage were heavily linked together. And so soft tissue came in probably, like you say, 10, 12 years ago, when people were looking for that identity and looking for that unique selling point.
Yeah.
I was just thinking when you said, because the one thing the public do know about the distinction they make, and I don't think it's been very useful for the industry, is the difference between massage and sports massage is going to hurt, and people are going to press harder, and that's something which we've kind of tried to shift as well, because we just get people who expect to be pummeled a little bit, and for a while we would do that very happily and take their money for it because we got good at it. But that's all changed as well, doesn't it? Where soft tissue therapy doesn't have that connotations of, this is definitely going to hurt, or but it's tricky because the courses themselves, what do you call the courses you put on now? Do they have to have massage in the title, or do you just have soft tissue therapy?
So the diploma is actually the diploma in soft tissue therapy. And so it doesn't have to have massage in the title, but the way we describe it is soft tissue therapy is the assessment, treatment, and rehabilitation of minor and chronic injury and pain. Treatment is hands-on, so our bias is toward hands-on. So hands-on massage mainly, but other soft tissue therapy techniques and some manual therapy techniques as well, some other type of manual therapy techniques. So massage is a big part of what we do as the context, as the part of the intervention, but we are more than that. In terms of all massage therapists are more than just what they do with their hands. And
Very
this
nice.
is the message that we want to give across. Yeah.
And you do it so well.
I think this is quite interesting because, like, myself including, and if you use the word massage on your social media, on the websites, and people have no idea of soft tissue therapy, they land on your website or your channels and your content, say Anna Maria, and then you educating them about, like, hey, massage is this, but this is something a little bit different, and then they start changing perception of what soft tissue therapy is. But like, I'm calling myself movement coach. I'm the same kind of in the same game. I have to use both personal trainer and movement coach. You have to use massage and soft tissue therapy to bring people to you and say, like, right now I'll explain you what's the difference, and you can see how much more this is, and this is just a part of it, isn't it?
So much of advertising is that, and it always kind of makes a bit sad. You need that clickbait. I've produced God knows how many podcasts for One Chat Live, and One Chat Live, for example, 60 episodes, and I just had the name of the guest in there, when really I should have put they should have just been called 5 ways to break down trigger points. I would have got like millions and millions of hits, Instead I had like, Dr. Ben O'Nig, that doesn't show up in Google search. I think it should, but it doesn't. Whereas if you put down like 5 ways to know if you're overpronating, then that's the secret of it. So there's always going to be that a little bit, isn't it? It's a shame. You need to get the audience, you need to have a little bit of a clickbait thing.
I think it's temporary, Matt. I honestly
Will it change? I do hope so.
I think it's temporary. I think all our industry, and when I say industry, I'm talking about clinical. We're talking about clinical. So we're talking about people working, therapists working with people in pain and injury, not talking about leisure industry. So for us, our profession is fairly new in comparison to the others, because our profession has grown because of changes in healthcare professions, that our profession has grown, that we had more and more people coming to us and wanted to be treated with their injuries and pain with the hands-on that maybe the physiotherapists were not doing anymore because NHS changed a few bits and pieces. So we are actually grown. Our industry has grown. So we are relatively new to it. So I think it's temporary. We the people I speak to is all those people that work at clinical settings and not in leisure settings, which both of them are very, very good. There is no one better than the others, while massage therapy can be both. So to differentiate our aims and outcomes, that's why I think soft tissue therapy is
that's good.
Just suits. I like it.
And Joe, I've realised that we haven't asked you. What do you call yourself?
Okay. I'm just in the process of updating things, because I've literally just qualified with Anna Maria. So although I've been in practice for 5 years now, I would have put like sort of remedial and sports in my sort of SEO and things like that. But I think for me, what I try and focus on more than what I'm called is what I'm trying to do. So I like to work with people who are in pain and try and help people who are in pain. So that's kind of more of the messaging that I put out there, I think.
It's very good. I like that.
Yeah.
Did you arrive to Anna Maria's clutches with that already in your mind, or was that something that was kind of like suggested and helped to bring out of you?
When I started massage, my intention was to help people with pain, and I think that's just really interested me, and it's something that I've really followed. And that's why I came to Anna Maria's course, because I'd sort of completed everything in terms of training that we could do, and trying to find something more advanced and that was going to give me some really greater depth, some knowledge and skills. Looking more kind of like what the universities could offer didn't give me that right fit, because I don't want to be a physio, I don't want to be a chiro. They're great, but I really get value out of what I do in helping people.
This is music to our ears.
Yeah. I get value in what
Anna
I
Maria
do.
is sitting there just already, like with the gestures.
I get value in what I do. I don't want to be a physio, an osteopath, chiropractor. I get value to what I do.
I love what I do. I'm so grateful. I'm so privileged to be doing this work. It's not work. I love it. It's helping people just to feel great in their bodies, and that's such a wonderful gift that we can give. But I was looking to really develop my knowledge, my skills to just a higher standard, without having to go, hey, I want to be a physio or I want to do this, because they do great stuff, but I love what I do. I didn't want to go down that route. So yeah, it was really interesting to come across the course.
If I may, I'll come back on that, because I think what's happened over the past 10, 12, 15 years is, with mainstream education, not just in our industry, standards have slipped, you know, and there have been some catalysts for that, you know, the introduction of numerical values to courses, you know, which commercially driven, in my opinion. So instead of having a diploma in sports and remedial massage, which was back in the day, we now talk about level 3 sports massage, level 4 soft tissue therapy, level 5 soft tissue therapy. Now, one thing that I've always said is that if you're applying a massage technique or a soft tissue technique, they should be taught at level 3, because it's an applied skill. And one thing I'd be interested to know from Anna Maria is, as a private training provider, how you develop the higher intelligence skills, if you like, of those people. Because to me, when you go to level 4, there's the analytical behavior, the subjective objective testing. Level 5 tends to be more about developing the knowledge and understanding of the techniques that you're delivering. So why, when education was, in my opinion, going backwards, why did you decide that we needed to move away from that model?
Yeah, that's really interesting, actually. And it's more about how we build, how we scaffold. It's about scaffolding thinking process. So you call the higher intelligence, or no, what did you call it? Higher intelligence. I think different thinking, more complex thinking processes. And we start with application of techniques, but already with the application of techniques, they're already given the freedom of, okay, this is the technique. Now, where do you think the client, or, you know, how would you apply this technique in different? So you're starting adding in a little bit more and more higher level. And then for us, it's never about, in all the courses, it's never about, I teach a technique and you repeat the technique. It's all about the evaluation of the concept behind that technique. And then you think within the class, our courses are all discussion, there is a lot of discussion based. Then through the discussion, how you then apply to that. And then until the end, when we actually apply some clinical reasoning for that technique. So we look at the evaluation, summarizing, and taking that decision. How do we progress forward? And I used to teach level 3 sports massage for quite a big organization, and I struggled with it because it was too, how do you call it, when it's very rigid?
What I would say there, it's monkey see, monkey do.
Yes.
You know, it's very prescriptive, and that you still see courses advertised today where it might be advertising soft tissue release, and the whole day will be spent doing soft tissue release on the leg, in the morning and the upper body and then the arm. You know, if we teach the modality, the principles of the modality, in this case, shorten, lock and lengthen, then we let the therapists who've come to us as trusted educators to develop that into their practice using the skills that they already have, rather than monkey see, monkey do. And unfortunately, that's what education has become.
This is why I'm really lucky, because I'm an educator. I am a private educator provider. I have the opportunity, but to me, what you said is actually building up, especially with the upgrade students. I get so much out of it because I'm actually building up on what they already do really, really well, and see, okay, now let's discuss this one. How would you apply it to what you already do? How do you how can you grow with that? And to our courses are all, I kid you not, it's all discussion based. So quite a bit of presentation, obviously quite led, but it's very much student led. And I am just there. Sometimes I love that because somebody comes in with a question, I sit back and they run, the class run with it. They are a unit in themselves. As long as, obviously we've got learning outcomes that we have to complete, but it's just so beautiful. And this is where I believe, Gary, that we have the opportunity to build the thinking process from level 3 to level 5, because it's not about course, it's about building the layering, how they can think differently. And that's why also the other thing is, and then I stop talking, I love working with adults, because they already have that. They already come to me. Most of them are second career. Most of them are adult. They come to me with the empathy. They come to me with the compassion. They come to me with the already critical thinking that is easily transferable to clinical thinking. And actually, they already possess what to me is most important in MSK care: compassion, empathy, and communication.
I think one of the dangers of old style education, in inverted commas, is that by not letting the student cohort develop those sort of conversations, then we are actually stunting them. We're producing, some cases, parrots of ourselves, copies of ourselves, but they need to develop those conversation skills so that they can get the right information from their client. They can communicate with their client in the right way to develop that therapeutic alliance and the trust that we all need, because I had a conversation with one of the members today, and, she said, well, I've got a website, I've done my SEO and I've listed all my services. And I said, people don't buy services. People in this industry buy people. So it has to be
by outcomes. By outcomes as well. Yeah, absolutely. I know, this is the last one.
How many times you said that, guys? Can you hear?
I know people that have been taught 10 different types of effleurage, but they didn't know about red flags. That is what is wrong. That is what is wrong. Okay, say that.
Right, so listen.
Say no more.
Because we've got the pleasure of having Imi and Joe and Mike here tonight. I want you to have a little think maybe about points in your courses that you're doing where you did have that group discussion, or where there was that chance for you to analyze and think. And before I do that, I just want to, is that okay? Yes, you guys maybe think of one example which sticks out in your minds of on training where you thought, wow, this is really useful now because we're actually talking about it, rather than having one monkey show you a trick of another monkey, that sort of stuff, which I thought Stephen Barr has said here in his fantastic way of summarizing things. It's monkey see, monkey do, and I don't like bananas. There you go. It's quite impressive, actually. I was quite impressed with that. So there, just bringing up here, I think one of you is going to be hidden behind the Christmas decoration for a moment. Imi, I'm sorry about that. Nothing personal. You might want to duck down a bit. But yeah, I just want to bring the website up here. Actually, I might put it on solo here just to give people an idea of what we're talking about. So the school, you'll find it online at thestschool.com, isn't it?
.co.uk.
.co.uk. Sorry, I can't see it because of my Christmas decoration. So thestschool.co.uk, and on there you'll find a wealth of wonderful information there. The courses which are on there, so we've got the Intro to Soft Tissue Therapy, and then you've got the BTEC Level 5 Diploma, which we'll talk about in a little bit more detail, just to highlight exactly what is on that, what it involves. I also wanted to, you got on the website CPD workshops and things, which you can mention later on, an upgrade course, which we'll delve into. And of course, I thought we need to have a shout out to the other people on the team, because it's not all just Anna Maria, is it? We've also got, so mention, give me a little summary of these people who work with you, Anna Maria.
So,
just give them a shout out.
As people know very well, Becky is my right-hand woman. She is one of our senior tutors, superb clinician, and the half of the school. Sharon Roberts is one of my ex-students, who's now one of our tutors, and her practice is very yoga-based, very movement-based. And then we have Melanie Ward-Nichols, which she has been a massage therapist longer than me and you, I think, Matt.
Really?
And yes, I know. So yes, we're all clinicians. And also we have some guest lecturers coming in very, very often. So we could have other, Tammy or Mike coming in and doing delivering different sessions, different guest lectures.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, definitely a good shout out for the team. And it was just, once again, congratulations for what you put together at Therapy Expo. It was so lovely seeing you all there with your hoodies. In fact, I think Imi here, there was some mention earlier. I saw you put the hoodie on. I thought, that's what it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Well done, Imi. Well done.
Yeah, well done, Imi.
Matt, what I thought was interesting at Therapy Expo was the Anna Maria persuading you to start using QR codes and then embedding them into the presentations for those hoodies.
Yeah. Did you hear what happened there, Anna Maria?
No.
Do you know the code which you gave me to put onto my presentation? Yeah, that was interesting. Do you know what actually came up when people went onto it?
No.
A shop for your sweatshirts.
No.
I had people coming up after going, excuse me, that's not a gait analysis course. That's a shop to buy. It looks like a hoodie. And I was like, yeah, sorry about that. So if you do get suddenly loads of orders for hoodies, then that's because of the QR code.
No.
Yeah, brilliant.
I have
QR
to
code.
say, I prepared those codes quite early in the morning.
Mind you, I think Dr. Fiona Higgs has something to do with that as well. But anyway, so there we are. I've given you a little bit of time. Excuse me. So, Imi up there in the corner, hidden behind the Christmas tree. Can you think of any moments? First of all, just let me know, you are at what stage on the level 5 diploma?
I did the upgrade.
You did the upgrade. So explain to me what that was about for people who don't know what that course was for.
So I'd already previously done my level 3 and 4, and then it's a leveling up. So not without having to do the whole thing again. It's just that taking you from level 4, or I think you can do it from level 3, up to the level 5.
Fantastic. And did you look? You haven't got to mention any other people, but did you look elsewhere? Did you have other considerations where you could have done this? Or?
Yeah, I did. There was one other course that was a potential, but I felt that Anna Maria's course was fitted better maybe with my clients and my style of learning. The other course was really good, but it was a little bit more maybe pure sports orientated, or a little bit more. Although I'm more interested in movement than sort of full on exercise prescription. So that's more my interest, and I just thought. And plus I'd listened to the Massage Collective and then I did a little chat thing with Anna Maria for on another podcast. So I sort of knew what I was letting my synth in for.
Yeah.
Better the devil,
That's interesting. It's interesting as well, isn't it? Because
it might have been really good, but I definitely for me it was the right choice.
I think that's important for people to know as well. There's no one course. It's the same as we always say, there's no one CPD that's suitable for everyone. It is a case of doing a bit of investigating and looking into the people who are speaking on the course, what they're involved in as well. I think that's one of the blessings of Anna Maria being involved in like the Massage Collective and all these other things, because you get to know what you're buying into. You're not just getting a syllabus on a bit of paper, which is really important, but you're getting a person delivering it and giving everything they've got to, help that syllabus become real and to help you in clinic, which is what it's all about. So, okay, so you did the upgrade then.
As well, going forward, like I'm doing a couple more courses now. I've gone forward and I've been a lot more picky about those courses and probably really annoyed the tutors by asking them loads of questions before I gave them my money.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, just sorry to butt in
with that as well.
But you doing that, I think, is probably the fastest, most effective way of changing the industry than anything else, any podcast, any conference. If actual people going to courses start challenging the tutors, not in a rough, nasty way, but just going, but hold on, what if this and that and da-da-da-da? Then the tutor's going to go home and go, oh my God. And they're going to go to the people who are getting to deliver this course. And it's just going to, that's the only way courses are going to change, if the people who are teaching
we need to raise our standards.
So what you're doing now, and I reiterate, I know it's not your case, but I think there might be a tendency for other therapists to suddenly go on courses and just bully and think that they're talking to someone as if like they're on Twitter, and they'll start treating them without any respect, which is not the answer at all. That's going to be horrible. But just critically, in the true sense of criticizing someone, just making them think, you know. So it's brilliant to hear you do that.
We discussed this last week, didn't we, with Jay, Jack, and Julie?
Thank you. Yes,
you're welcome. I thought that one. No, but Jack and Becky and I,
Jay,
and
Mystery
Leslie,
Jack Woolhouse,
Jack, Becky, and Leslie, who was in the house last week, not this evening. We were on a panel talking about CPD, how you choose it, how you should be informed by it, whether there should be a learning outcome with all CPD. But one of the things that Becky said was challenge your tutor. You know, if she thinks something's not right, challenge them. For, you know, it might be a learning experience for them. And as you said, Matt, you don't have to do it in 145 characters on Twitter. You can ask with diplomacy that you don't understand something. Could it be reinforced?
One of the courses I'm doing, I love the course, but there are certain elements of it that I don't agree with, and I have tried to nicely challenge, and it didn't really go down that well. So now but it's given me, doing Anna Maria's course has given me that critical thinking that I can take, you know, I can do it, I can get the end result that I want, but I can choose when I go and practice it which bits that I choose and how I choose to use it going forwards. I'm not just taking it verbatim and like the monkey see, monkey do. I will tweak it and work my own way of using it. And then, you know, it won't be everything I've learned, because some of it I don't agree with. And there's some things that I've thought, well, I'm not sure, and I'll go and try and find out. So, you know, these sort of courses like we did with the Level Up, it gives you that, that looking around and looking around a subject and not just accepting it. I mean, not being bullshit and nasty, but there was, you genuinely felt with Anna Maria and with the group itself that we could ask anything. And also we were never made to feel stupid at asking a question, and we were encouraged to sort of think for ourselves and work things out. So an example, I can't think of a specific example, but we were all quite varied because we'd all been in practice before. All our styles and our interests and our practices were really very varied. So we would sort of have a problem or something to work through, and we'd all come at it with different takes, all of which would work, but they were all completely different ways of looking at it. And that was really, I enjoyed that.
That sounds really good. And that's the thing, when you've got an education provider like, excuse me, Anna Maria and the Soft Tissue Therapy School, who are not delivering a course saying, here's all the answers. When that's not happening, then obviously suddenly you take away this idea of, you know, you're the student, we can just spoon feed you things. That institution is interested in your ideas. They want you to share your experiences because you're going to help model probably future courses. So really cool stuff. Really love to hear this. Thank you so much, Imi.
Also,
Joe,
Matt, Matt, sorry, on that one as well, what Imi was saying, sometimes those inter-cohort discussions are a really good learning opportunity for the tutor. Who may be, you know, not up to date, you know, so used to teaching from a syllabus, used to having their own MO, they might learn something as well.
Oh, I mean, I can tell you that some of the things I learned, like, you know, there were so many things, but one of them recently about symptom modification in the shoulder, and I think Imi, it was Lee in your class that he said, oh, why don't we do symptom modification, short lever, long lever on the hip? And I thought, wow, well done. I never thought of that. You know,
that's great movement things,
I love that because we come there, we're so preconceived sometimes as tutors, especially when we've done it for a long time and so on. And then you come here with this brain really thinking and querying brain, and you come in with those questions. Wow, I never thought of that. So yeah, exciting.
The clock.
Oh, the clock. Do you remember that?
Pushing the pens out. I've blatantly stolen that, and I use it all the time. Yeah, that was great.
Indeed.
Very nice. I got the clock of Ben Cormack years ago, and it's probably one of my go-to things all the time. It's just, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Thanks, Ben, if you're listening. Anyway, Joe, I'm really keen to get some. It's lovely having you guys here and sharing these gems. It's really good, and I hope the listeners are enjoying it. I'm sorry, people in the live lounge, I'm not ignoring you. I do appreciate you. If you have got particular questions, then fire away, Nikki and Stephen and Marco and Sarah. So I'm going to keep an eye open now in case, because we are getting to about 50 minutes to go. But Joe, I'm keen to hear, can you think of any moments? What are you studying, Joe? Remind me at the moment.
So I've done the upgrade course. So I've just finished doing my case studies, which is the last kind of bit of that. And I started that in March time this year. So already in practice and in a group of just wonderful therapists who've all been in practice. And just like Imi, you know, we're all bouncing off of each other because we're all got different perspectives. We've all done different courses. We all practice slightly differently. So we were all learning off of each other as well as learning off of Anna Maria and bouncing all of that around the room. It's just a really great learning environment. And I think, I remember when we had our first day and being sat outside the room before we'd even gone in, you know, to class. And we were all sat there going, am I good enough to do this? Am I going to be able to do this? Am I smart? And we all sat there and went, oh, we're all thinking the same thing. Well, that's okay, because we're all here to learn. And just from when we walked through the door with Anna Maria, like Imi was saying, just you never felt like you were saying something stupid. You never thought, you know, oh, I can't ask that, you know. And I think that reflects really well in practice, because then when you're working with clients, you're not just going, oh yeah, I remember that's the move I need to do. You're exploring a little bit and working with them and working it out, because everybody's so different. And I think that's a really valuable thing that we learn as part of the course. It's not necessarily a technique, but it is learning to think rather than just go with a answer.
It's the concept.
That's what I like about case studies on courses is, you know, and my colleagues used to hate marking case studies, but I used to love doing them because you can see the development. You know, what starts off as a simple, you know, I've been seeing this client 3 or 4 times, they've come in for a back, neck and shoulder massage, and then you go through the, you know, the case study and you see they've started to implement some movements in there as well. The client's not just face down on the couch all the time, they're involved in the movements, they're investigating movements themselves, and I find that really interesting for the development of the therapist.
Yeah, all sounds good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the longer you work with a client as well, you know, in your first session, the first time you meet each other, you're not necessarily going to throw everything at them because they're not going to feel comfortable with that. So it is showing that progression as you go on and you're working together with somebody and kind of exploring, you know, what they've got going on and how you can help with that. I think it's a really nice process to go through.
So Mike, somebody being worried by a dog?
Oh, sorry.
I think
can
it's
you hear them?
It's my dog. Hound. Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry about that.
Mike, what's the question there? Did you say, Gary?
Yeah. So Nikki's asked the clock. I'm intrigued. Care to share? I'll give you my version of it. I used to teach this going back 15 years or so. And then you can see how it compares with what everybody else does. But if I've got a client and they've got some movement inhibition for some reason, I used to get them to imagine they're standing in the center of a clock where the hands are fixed, and I would ask them to move a quarter of the way in a step forward to the 1 o'clock with their right leg or with their left leg. I'd get them to move to halfway towards the 4 o'clock in a lunge or a sort of squatting type exercise. I'd get them to, with a piece of paper on the floor, I'd get them to move the foot from 1 to 3 to 7 to 10, depending on their level of skill or ability. So that's my version of the clock exercise.
The star excursion. It's the star excursion balance test. Yes. Yeah. But what he did, what Lee did, he did a little bit of a variation. So when you go and tap, so the excursion says tap and then come back. What he did, instead of tapping, it made it move forward, move the item, because we were putting on the floor shoes, anything, move the item forward. So it became a task-orientated exercise that you had to have the balance, the strength, but also the cognitive process of pushing the things away. And I loved it. I loved, when he did it, we were all, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
There's another question here, Matt, from Nikki. Serious question in two parts for Anna Maria. Mel has mentioned last night that he's potentially moving away from BTEC accreditations, in brackets, for many reasons, such as we discussed in this forum last week. What alternatives are there to BTEC, and how do they compare, considering how well known and admired the BTEC is after all of these years? My opinion on this, that BTEC's come in for some criticism from certain sectors because it is too flexible, because it is less robust, if you like, than a sort of some of the other organisations. But to me, the BTEC gives the flexibility for the private training providers to move with the times.
I agree.
And on this, Nikki, I'll have a private conversation with you if I can. I don't really want to discuss this on air, if that's okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome.
But yes, that is great. That the ability of being flexible for a qualification, for our type of qualification, where you need the content to be so solid, and the content can be solid if you have the people delivering that qualification, creating the content. For us, it's been great.
And how on that then, if the person who's delivering the qualification is creating the content, and given that BTEC may not be occupationally competent,
no, not at all. Yeah.
Where is the external validity to a course such as yours?
Yes. So this is where this is why the industry needs to be better, especially with BTEC. So I can say that I am very comfortable with our both internal and external validation, because ISRM externally validate, and we are actually delivering an ISRM syllabus, and which is accredited by BTEC. But as you said, BTEC is not doesn't accredit the competencies. It accredits the qualification per se. So are we doing the right assessment? Are we doing the assessment at the right level? All these things you can explain better than I can ever do. So it's actually left to us left to the ISRM as an organization to be valid, to be externally the external validation. And I am very happy. ISRM is a very small organization. We can do that. They can do that. But if the organization becomes bigger, you cannot do that any longer. So there needs to be better external validation in order, because otherwise, how do you maintain validity? How do you maintain? So yes, so there are some very good things about BTEC being flexible. And actually, we are happy because, as I say, we are a small organization. We can keep control even with our markers. But once it becomes bigger, you cannot anymore. What do you think, Gary?
Well, I think that as long as the industry's been around, there have been, in my opinion, conflicts of interest where a person might design a course. They might start to deliver that course. They might then set up an awarding organisation to award the certificate and another organisation to accredit it. And to me, there's no external validity to that. So there has to be some independence somewhere. And that's why I want to have that private conversation with Nikki about how we see that moving forwards, because we are constrained by the current system. And I was asked to, somebody's made an appeal. They were failed a course, and I was asked to, as an independent person, to review the evidence. And when I was reading the marking scheme, and I'll change the names because I don't want to embarrass anybody or on this platform, but the marker, the assessor's remarks were, you must learn the Peter Smith method. in order to pass this exam, which I thought was egotistical at best, but not very good for the industry, because they are monkey see, monkey do. What we're trying to do now, especially with courses at a higher level, we are trying not to spoon feed, as Matt mentioned earlier. We're not trying to spoon feed this information. What we're trying to do is give you the nuts and bolts and let you build the machine from it. We're trying to get you to develop your own practice, your own style, because the worst thing in the world, if there was 10 of me out there, that's the worst thing in the world for me as an educator.
Yes, this is one of the things we're quite hot with. Yeah, we don't want to, we don't want to create, a flock of sheep.
I don't think that's good for clients either, is it? Because everybody's so varied. You're working with people that fit with your experience and skills, and that's why there's so many great therapists who are doing a great job, but we're also different.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a good point, Joe. As soon as you think there's one way to do it, then suddenly you find that your system's not working and you've got nothing else. You've got nothing to give.
But that's why
we can't do it.
Also, I think it's the right time now for these changes in education to take place, because I think until now it was needed, but not as much as it is, because I see that we are entering more and more into a more modern healthcare. We don't have to be regulated to do that, and I think now all those validity points are really more important than before, and we need to be more standardized. And people say, so why didn't happen before? Because actually, I think, we, from where we came from, I think now is the right time for all this to change. And I'm so excited to be practicing at this time where I can see those changes and indeed be part of them.
Historically, what there's been is an acceptance of the status quo. We've always thought of the awarding organisations and the sector skills councils and the national councils, if you like, in the industries to be the leaders, to know everything. But what we've got now, and I said this I was part of the committee for the Education and Development for Therapy Expo, and I said to Liam last year, we have to be really careful now, because we can't just turn up and sell snake oil to therapists. Therapists are now more intelligent than they once were. We're not willing to take the monkey see, monkey do approach. We want to develop ourselves.
Different.
And as Joe said, every therapist is different, and that's based on experiences through life. I think a more mature therapist is a safer bet. If I was spending my money to get a treatment, I would go to somebody who's more mature, who's experienced more in life, than somebody who comes straight from compulsory education or university education. Because, to be fair, they're still developing strategies of dealing with people. When you've been married and had kids and you've had various jobs, you've developed those strategies to deal with people, and it gives you a great insight into working with
lots of experience.
The general public.
Well, look, it's 9 o'clock, guys. Amazing, some fantastic information there, which I'm hoping people who have listened to the podcast are enjoying. Just to sum it up then, if people are interested in doing courses, Anna Maria, it's getting to Christmas now and winter breaks and things. So what have you got starting off? Is it like what do people do? What can you, if people have been excited now thinking, I want to do this, then...
Oh, yes, please. So we have several courses happening, from full diploma courses starting in January in Exeter to upgrade courses starting in March, April in Bristol, to plenty of CPD courses, which one of them, Matteo, because you're going to be delivering one of the CPD courses. Because one of the other things that we deliver, and we are very keen, is to create a nice pathway for those soft tissue therapists to then evolve within the professional development into a more knowledgeable practitioners. But knowledgeable in what? We deliver from Thai massage under a more evidence-based framework, to gait analysis, to working with kids. We got Angela Jackson coming in March, delivering her kids are not many adults. We have Matt Phillips coming in May doing a hybrid course. Yeah, that's a massive one.
Big one, you heard it here.
And then we have several day courses, for example, which midweek day courses where we do, for example, I do shoulder, hip, and knee. Each of them is a day course, so that we can looking at an evidence-based approach to the assessment, treatment, rehabilitation of, in this case, shoulder or hip or knee. But yeah, going to our website, there are plenty of courses.
If anybody's interested in Angela Jackson's course, Kids Are Not Mini Adults, we have actually covered this on the podcast a couple of times, so you can search YouTube and you can get an idea of what Angela's talking about. But that's definitely a course. If it's closer, that's definitely something I would be looking at. Yeah,
because actually when you finish, Angela, again, we are trialing several hybrid courses. So the hybrid course allows people to do the theory part at home, and then they come to us for 1 day fully practical. And with Angela Jackson's course, once you finish those 2 parts, those hybrid and in person, you actually can be on her register of people working with young adults.
It's I think the way you're doing this hybrid course now is a reflection of what we've been talking about, because once upon a time, you would travel whatever part of the country needed to be just to be in the presence of this guru for 2 days. And I did it myself. That's how I
didn't we all? Yeah.
I was like, yeah, go. Yeah. But it's like nowadays, fortunately, I think it's good we're not quite so dazzled by this kind of guru thing, because they're not going to show us the answers. It's not going to be, here's everything you need. There's no more spoon feeding. So it makes more sense now. Let's not travel all the way. Let's do what we can through, Zoom, whatever, or some kind of online meet. Get the theory out the way. We can discuss, because that's what we're doing with these people now. They're going to plant some seeds and we're going to have some coins drop. And then with all this new information, then we can meet up and do some practical stuff. So I think it's a really healthy thing you're doing, Anna Maria. It's made me think about how delivering the Gait analysis course. So it's a good, healthy thing to do.
Because actually Zoom, telehealth and Zoom and all this, it's actually, I think, is wonderful for instigating communication.
Yeah.
Because actually, yes, this is also
who escaped?
why we've done it. Oh, Joe, she's left us.
Must be, I think it's 50p. And where is she? In Devon, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's probably the internet. No, she'll be back at the stage. Just got to check it first. Anyway, right. So look, now I've got some kind of like regional slur in there, and I'm sure she's fine. Right. Okay. Look, I don't want to keep you guys for longer than need be. So Imi and Michael, thank you very much for joining us, giving up your time. And Joe, if you can still hear us. Sometimes Joe's still here, even though we can't see her, so be careful what you say, people. But yeah, thanks for giving up your time. It's been really, this week and last week, it's something I want to do again. I think it's really useful having people being able to listen to actual therapists who have been studying, who are just finishing courses. It's got so much alternative value than just hearing the person who gives the course by themselves. So really appreciate you guys giving up your time.
Thank you for inviting us. Mark,
and Anna Maria, thank you for just being.
I am very honored. We think very, very highly of STA, what the STA is doing in the industry. They are really changing the industry, raising the standards. So to be able to be one of the 2 educational providers to be here, it's very, I
was going to say, I mean, there are other education providers, obviously, we have on the show. And if you are of interest, no, I shouldn't say that because I get all sorts of people asking me to be on the show. It's too tricky. But no, it's still a handful of people who are doing the great work you're doing. Because if that wasn't the case, Anna Maria, we wouldn't be having these conversations.
Yes,
we would have a perfect kind of education provision. But it's a drop in the ocean. So if you listen to the podcast and you are questioning your own history of education, then I would wholeheartedly recommend you have a little chat with Anna Maria or some of her team, or if you want to contact any of the people who have been on the show tonight. The STA, as always, you can contact us. Matt at the STA.co.uk is me, Gary at the STA.co.uk. There's still an info at the STA. Is there an info or an admin? Is it, Gary?
Admin at the STA.co.uk, Jake at the STA.co.uk.
Okay, and obviously use YouTube as well. The reason we do YouTube and not Facebook now is YouTube is much easier to find. Facebook disappears. YouTube, this video will be here. So if you've got any questions or comments, stick something. Go to YouTube and stick something in the comments. I'm monitoring it all the time, and we'll make sure that we get back to you or put into contact with somebody. Or if you want to talk to Anna Maria, then best way to contact you, Anna Maria, through the school, the website.
It's anna@vstschool.co.uk. anna@vstschool.co.uk.
Oh, beautiful. Love that. Love that. Anyway, it's just my thing for
Please don't book onto Matt's course. He's going to run a fantastic course.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that now. It's totally be against what we've been talking about on the whole show, wouldn't it? Connecting, yeah. So we didn't even mention that. What I will mention, though, which I'm really happy with, is in January, we're going to have the Focus on the Hip month. Really excited. We're talking to some guests. And we're going to start off with Benno Matthew. In January the 10th, so he's going to come on, talk about common misconceptions and misdiagnoses and that sort of stuff at the hip. So really, I've wanted to have Benno for quite a long time, or for ages on the show, and I've finally managed to get him. And we're also going to have a few other speakers who I've got lined up, all to do with the hip, later on in January.
Can you invite me for the shoulder?
Invite you for the shoulder? Yeah, we haven't got to the shoulder yet. I'm working my way up there.
Yeah, but when you do the show, I want to be invited.
Because I look after runners and work with runners, I tend to start yawning a bit. Once we get past the hips, I'm like, so yeah, you're welcome. In fact, you know what? You can take the show. I'll have a day. I'll have a week off. Get me past the waist. I'm not really interested. Just counterbalance the legs. That's all it is, really.
You can't get the stuff.
Last time I had somebody with a dodgy shoulder. Years. Anyway, but so yeah, January's going to be a really exciting month. It's got some wonderful speakers, which there's going to be a fantastic couple of weeks. I'm just still finalizing it, but on buttock pain, because I think buttock pain is an area where a lot of misconceptions are taught. Oh, everything is a piriformis syndrome, or everything is sciatica. All you need to do is elbow it, do some soft tissue release. And I used to teach it myself. It would cure everything. Yeah. And it's such a complex area, the buttock, and it's such a common area for pain. So we're going to do a double back-to-back week of theory first, with a very excellent specialist in buttock pain, and then afterwards we're going to have the practical of, we know this information now, what do we do with the client? So that's going to be a back-to-back, which I'm very excited about. So January's going to be cool, people, but let's not waste our time thinking about January. Let's just make sure you have a great time over this winter break. Obviously, just to reiterate, and then my heart does go out, I see these posts on social media just to remind us that Christmas isn't a great time for everybody. Not everyone celebrates Christmas, but the holiday break is not a great time for everyone. Sometimes it's a time for missing loved ones, and people are by themselves, and suddenly, social things happen and break. So if you do know anyone who is going to be by themselves over this kind of winter period, then just reach out to them. Invite them to your house, maybe for Christmas dinner, or just give them a phone call, or just see what they're doing on what we call Christmas Day, because it's not a good time for everyone. It can be a really difficult time. So not to bring it down or anything, but just remember that it's not all presents and mistletoe and Christmas trees for everyone. Have a little rack of your brain and think, whose day could I make by actually going around there and popping in, or having a sherry, or giving them a call or something, and that'd be really cool. Anyway, thanks people for joining us. Gary, as always. Anna Maria, Imi.
Thank you.
I'm just going to check Joe hasn't turned up again. No, but thank you, Joe, as well, for joining us. And all the best, and see you next year, I guess. You guys stick around. I'm just going to end it now. People in the live lounge, if we don't speak before, then have a great end of year. And thanks for joining us always. People downloading the podcast, thank you very much. We'll be back in January with a new season, starting with episode 131. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
You're listening to the Sports Therapy Association podcast, putting evidence back into soft tissue therapy.